Question 25. Point P has coordinates P, 4. The P is the x coordinate while the 4 is the y coordinate. Point Q has coordinates Q, 4. Q is the x coordinate while 4 is the y coordinate, where Q is less than 0. That means Q is a negative integer, maybe -1, -2, -3, and so on. Q is the image of P after reflection in the line x equals -5. So the line of reflection is at x equals -5. Then Q is the image while P is the object. Maya says P must be greater than -5. Find a possible value for P to show that Mia is not correct. Now this question is a bit technical and a bit of mind playing. It stated that Q is less than 0 and Q is written as this, as Q. It's not written as -Q. So P could also be negative, and it's not indicated in the question that P is positive. The x coordinate of point Q is less than 0. That means it could be -1, -2, and so on. But here it's not indicated with the -Q, same as P, and it's clearly stated that Q is less than 0, but it's not stated whether P is less than or greater than 0. Now, to prove me wrong and to better understand this question, we'll use a graph and we'll get the image from question 22 of paper 1 of this checkpoint progression test. Going back to the question, you notice that the coordinate of point P is P and 4. Let's write it here. P is P, 4, and point Q is Q, 4. You should notice that the y coordinates of both point P and point Q are both 4. This is y coordinate and the x coordinates are different. And noting that the x coordinate of point Q is negative because it's stated here that Q has a value of less than 0. Q could be -1, and also noting that the line of reflection is at x is -5. This is x is -5. Then the line of reflection will be perpendicular or at 90 to the x-axis, which means it's parallel to the y-axis. This is the y-axis. Note, these y coordinates of both P and Q being equal means that they both lie on line y is 4 somewhere here. That means P and Q are on this point where Q is reflecting P, and reflection means they are the same distance on opposite sides of the line of reflection. Now Mia says P must be greater than -5, and you know numbers greater than -5 is -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, and so on. So it means that P on this y coordinate, it can be here. That means P can be -4. Then if it's one line away, Q will be here on this other side. That Q will reflect here. But the question is now telling us that we should state any other point that can make Maya incorrect. That means where x coordinate of point P will be less than -5, and you still have your Q or x coordinate of Q, which is here, as negative. That's less than 0. That means we need our Q negative. And note, P can be on this side reflecting on the other side. P can be on your left reflecting on your right, and P can be on your right reflecting on your left. It's not stated in the question that P is positive, so P could be negative. And it's not stated that P is less than -5. We are even told to prove that Mia is wrong. So we can take any value to make our P, provided Q, which is the x coordinate of point Q, is less than 0. We should note that we are not limited in the value for P. This is where the twist is. Most students will jump on it and put P on the right of the line of reflection, and we want Q on the left, but P can be on the left and Q will be on the right. And also note that an object can be on the line of reflection itself. What's saying is that P can actually be here and Q reflect on it. It's possible. What we're saying is P can actually be -5 itself, reflecting on the line of reflection. That's reflecting Q on itself. And also note, P can actually be -6. P can be on this side being minus 6, while Q is on the other side here. P can also be at minus 7, while Q will be here. Q can also be here because if this is P and it's one line away from the line of reflection, Q will be here, which is one line away from the line of reflection. That's on the other side. That means on your right of the line of reflection. They are equal distance away from the line of reflection. Note, P can also be at minus 8, and if it has minus 8, which is 2 lines away from the line of reflection, Q can also be here. This still meets the requirement of Q, where it says the x-coordinate of point Q, which is small letter q, should be negative, less than 0. So if P is at minus 8, Q can reflect on your right at minus 2, which is still negative. Now, if P is at minus 9, that's how many lines away at minus 9 from the line of reflection? We have 1, 2, 3. That's 3 lines, then the line of reflection, that's at minus 9. You count 1, 2, 3. So Q will be on this side. If P were to be at minus 9, point P were at minus 9, Q will be at minus 1. But if P should go as far as minus 10, Q will be at 0, which doesn't meet the requirement of Q as being negative. So Mia is wrong because you can have the object on the left reflecting the image on the right, and you can have it, if it's allowed, the object on the line of reflection reflecting on the line of reflection Q2. It's equal distance from both sides, from the line of reflection. If P goes one line away, Q is also one line away, which still makes Q negative. Q is still negative at minus 4, Q is still negative at minus 3, Q is still negative at minus 2, and Q is still negative at minus 1. And if Q is at minus 1, as the image, P is at minus 9. So small p, which is the x-coordinate of point P, can go as far as minus 9, which is less than minus 5, contrary to what Maya suggested, that P must be greater than minus 5, because this meets the Q requirement, that's the x-coordinate of point Q, which must be less than 0, as the reflection of P. So Mia is wrong because P can be on your left reflecting Q on your right, and while P can go from minus 5 to minus 9, where Q will still be less than 0, which meets the Q requirement. That means Maya is wrong, or Maya is not correct. So note, except you want to avoid this minus 5, P can be minus 6, can be minus 7, can be minus 8, can be minus 9, and these numbers are less than minus 5. So contrary to Maya, the x-coordinate, that's P, can be minus 9, or minus 8, or minus 7, or minus 6. You could also say minus 5, but you can avoid that and start with minus 6, because if P is at minus 6, Q can be reflected at point X is minus 4, where Q is still negative or less than 0. I hope this explanation gives you better visualization of what this question is saying. For your answer, you can either choose minus 6, minus 7, minus 8, or minus 9. You can choose any of these negative integers as your answer to prove Mia wrong.